So how's the new release of Assetto Corsa Competizione? Short answer, skip this version. Long answer, watch this video. Greetings petrolheads and welcome to a new chapter in our Assetto Corsa Competizione series. I'll have to start with a couple of apologies. First of all, I apologize for coming so late with this review, but I was out of town the last week, which was the week where Kunos decided to publish the new version 0.6 of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Second of all, I'll have to apologize because you'll only be seeing images of one race as my hard disk act up. I suppose it was missing me and that's its revenge, and did not record everything else that I had done with Assetto Corsa Competizione. And third of all, I'll have to apologize because sometimes the image stutters. That's not up to me. I have a high-end graphics card and still Assetto Corsa Competizione eats up all its cycles and it comes to stutter in the replay. There have been a lot of changes under the hood of Assetto Corsa Competizione. They go so far that Kunos have said that any bug reports coming before 0.6 have no validity anymore as the code has been changed so extremely. Of course, there are the changes for multiplayer, which were the reason why Assetto Corsa Competizione 0.6 came out later than expected. And of course, we have the two Nissans from 2015 and 2018 and the Monza circuit. But there have also been other changes. One of those very interesting, you may know if you are a fan of Assetto Corsa, of the Helicorsa app, that is a kind of radar where the opponents are. Kunos have added something like Helicorsa to Assetto Corsa Competizione. They have also done a lot of changes in the cameras. They have introduced dynamic weather, but for now this is mostly seen in Kunos practice servers. The video settings have been changed almost completely. There have been changes in the AI, changes in the marshal system, hopefully killing the yellow flag bug. They have added debox support. Debox is used by many motion sim rigs. They have done extensive changes in the ratings, and by the way, they have reset all the ratings. We knew this was coming at some point. And in the subsequent versions after 0.6, we are now at 0.63. They have corrected small and big issues that there were there. A lot of changes done in the code of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Let's see what they mean for us. I completely reinstalled Assetto Corsa Competizione according to what Stefano from Kunos was saying, deleted everything. And this is how VR looks like for me. I am not alone with this issue, but I am in the minority. Others don't have this problem that they are too low and cannot get into the right position. But for me, it makes Assetto Corsa Competizione unplayable on VR. And what is more frustrating, I've delivered a lot of information to Kunos and I have received not one pointer of what I should be doing different. For the others that don't have this problem on VR, they have the problem that VR is a big hit in performance and otherwise doesn't look very good. All in all, in my opinion, this is not a game that really supports VR yet, as there is a lot of work to be done in VR. Force feedback worked quite well in all previous versions of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Version after version, we saw a steady improvement, and the cars were clearly different from each other on the force feedback. According to Kunos, this was because of changes in the physics, of improvements in the physics, and not because they did any changes to force feedback. More power to them. It was becoming better with every version. 0.6 or 0.63 as we are at the moment is an enormous setback. I fiddled with the force feedback settings for an hour until I got something that was okay-ish. My main problem was that my wheel was vibrating enormously, that I was spending more time and energy trying to get the wheel not to vibrate that much, and could not concentrate on my driving. Furthermore, my hands hurt like crazy and I was getting cramps after only 4 to 5 laps. Now that I have changed the force feedback, the wheel doesn't vibrate so much, but I don't feel many differences in the way the different cars behave, and the force feedback is by far not as good as it was in the versions until now. Assetto Corsa Competizione looks as good as it's ever done, but these good looks come with an enormous performance hit on your computer, most especially your GPU, and if you're doing VR, it's gonna be even worse. What about multiplayer, the main reason for the delay? Well, most of it I cannot tell because there have been changes under the hood, mostly in server code and so on. But on the multiplayer races that I had no car having lags. On the other hand, multiplayer races were... Look for yourself. And another thing, why does Assetto Corsa Competizione leave heavy debris in the middle of the track when in normal races these would be either 4 scores yellow or even a red flag? And say hello to an old friend, the safety rating is still there. Either because of lack of time or because they made the decision not to offer that many, this time we only got one new challenge. What surprises me very positively is that the ratings are very precise and unluckily for me they describe exactly what I did wrong, where I did something wrong. The rating system is not and will never be as good as a group of people taking a look at a situation, but for what it is, a computerized analysis, it's very, very good. This version of Monza has no bridge. You'll have to get accustomed to a new braking point, which is at about a little bit before the 150 meter mark. No bridge! Oh my god! From the UI perspective, this is not well done, because gain and dynamic damping go to 200 while minimum force and road effects go to 100%. So when you think you're putting something at 100 in minimum force, you're putting it at 50%. And well, there is something strange and not easy to understand until you find out through trial and error. I said it at the beginning and I have no problems repeating it. Skip this version and I'm gonna tell you why. VR does not work for me and has not since 0.3 or I think it was 0.31 or something like that. I completely deinstalled and deleted any trace of Assetto Corsa Competizione from my system, reinstalled everything and still does not work. And I'm not the only one with this issue. Kunos are of no help, and those who have VR working, who don't have the same issues that I have, report an enormous hit in the performance and that it does not look good. All in all, Assetto Corsa Competizione does not support VR. The force feedback is worse than it ever was. Whatever they did in the code, force feedback is almost unworkable. I either leave it at the standard settings as I did until this version, and then I get enormous problems in my hands after a couple of laps, or I reduce it to a point where it's not really noticeable. The graphic performance is worse than it ever was, the drop in FPS is enormous. If you care about VR, if you care about force feedback, and if you care enough about the graphics, do not get this version, skip it, stay with 0.5 if it's possible at all. That said, the AI in my opinion has gotten better, much better, and the multiplayer code seems to be better. I cannot say because many of these things go under the hood, but it feels better. I did not see any car with a lag. Maybe I was lucky, but maybe the netcode has gotten a lot better. But these 2 points do not change my opinion that this version, the 0.6 or 0.63, is an enormous setback compared to 0.5. Okay, the multiplayer code may have been horrendous before and is now great, but now the rest of the code, at least from what I see and from what I feel, is horrendous, while multiplayer may be great. A good question is, will we see a 0.7 or will the next be the full version, the 1.0? If it was up to me, I would recommend a 0.7, still a beta version. But of course there are things at stake here and decisions to make that go beyond the technical. In my opinion, 0.6 is not a good version, is the worst version that they have had, and the code still needs a lot of work to be able to say it's a full version. Kunos have shown with Assetto Corsa that they are able to provide an enormously fantastic simulation. Hopefully they will do the same in the next version or versions of Assetto Corsa Competizione. That would be all for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it, please be so kind and applaud by leaving a like. If you didn't, please leave a comment telling us why so that we can get better. If you think this video can help somebody, we'd be very thankful if you would share it. And if you want to see more of us, subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell. Until next time, save fuel, take pickup, and we'll see each other. Podium!
Visit romrom.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim racing fans.